Trust that exactly where you are is where you're meant to be. So keep your chin up so your crown doesn't fall. Remember, you're royalty.
Well, hey, hello, welcome to my channel. Real quick before we get started talking, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel and then click on that bell notification so you're notified every time I post another video. So let's hop right into this comment. I'm gonna start answering some of your comments like this instead of, typing it out, because I really want my channel to be impactful. I don't want to just make videos just to make them and then we're having the same conversations in 5 years. No, let's let this be a dead thing. So you said, I can't tell you how many times I've sat down in a chair and immediately get dirty, rude looks from the stylist. Are you jealous of me? What's your problem? Grow up. And most of them got into cosmetology because they failed at every other job they've ever had in their life. I've had at least 2 stylists tell me that they just kept getting fired from every job. It's definitely bad attitudes across the board. So one thing I will not do is make excuses for stylists like this, but we have to take responsibility, because I myself personally, whenever I first started in the field of cosmetology, I was 19 when I got my license, and the first salon that I went to, I was one of the only black girls there, but I just didn't like the energy of the salon, right? So I went and I was in studio salons. But even before I moved to studio salons, I never ever experienced anything like this, nor did I ever work around women who behave this way. And a lot of y'all are not gonna like what I have to say next, but it is what it is. Let's break this comment down piece by piece. Lovely, don't get mad, you posted this, and I do need everybody to remember, no, I do not do hair for trade anymore, but at heart I am still a cosmetologist, scientist, and all of those things. So I am going to play devil's advocate here and give you guys both sides. The first piece, I can't tell you how many times I've sat down in a chair and immediately get a rude look from the stylist. So my first question, why did you stay? Actually, no, that's not my first question. That's my second question. My first question is, where did you find this hairstylist? Because I have never ever, and don't get me wrong, I've worked around some stylists that were not that good at their job, but I have never worked around a cosmetologist that is jealous of her clients, that's eyeballing her clients. The only way that a cosmetologist is doing that is one or two things. Either you've chosen a ratchet shop with a ratchet price, or you are a person that lets off negative energy and they probably just don't like you, sis. And the thing is, when a woman works for themselves, they can let out whatever type of energy they want because they work for themselves. Now, with that being said, I am not making excuses or allowances for nasty cosmetologists or nasty hairstylists with stank attitudes. But I also need y'all to remember this. Most of the time, if you found a stylist with the lowest price, you've also found a stylist that doesn't have a license, who's never been to school. I need you to know that. Okay, every state that you're in does not have strict laws about having a cosmetology license. For an example, in Detroit, Michigan, where I am from, you can do what is called an apprenticeship. Okay, you can't do an apprenticeship in Vegas and Nevada, but you can do that in Detroit, Michigan. So what an apprenticeship means is, for example, you can have a big salon with 20 different people in it, 20 different stylists in that salon, but only one of those stylists has to have a cosmetology license. And if state board comes in and all 20, the other 19 stylists don't have a cosmetology license, they can tell state board, hey, we're all apprentice up under her. And nobody's been to cosmetology school. That's how stuff is ran most of the time, but y'all don't know that because you're shopping for price. So, I mean, if you are bargain shopping for a stylist, for example, you go to $50 weave shops. Yeah, it's a possibility that the woman that's sitting in the chair who is, standing behind you is gonna have a stank attitude because she's about to stand there and do 3-4 hours of work for $50. No, she's not in a great mood. No, she's like, that's slave labor. Divide $50, divide that by 3 and see how much money she's actually making. It's all, none of it's profit. None of it is profit. None of it. So no, she's not gonna be the sweetest person. You're not going to be getting the nicest stylist that anybody's ever met when you're going to women who are not charging their worth for whatever reason. Be that because they haven't went to school, be that because they are just a person who got up in the morning and decided they wanted to do hair and they don't understand business. But that, in my opinion, baby, is you, because everybody doesn't have that experience. I have never met or had anybody work in the same place with me who grims and stares at their clients as if they're jealous of them. And I want to get to this next thing. Are you jealous of me? What's your problem? Grow up. Well, first thing, before you book a consultation, before you book an appointment, you should book a consultation. And if you would have booked a consultation, you could have read her energy before you ever went to sit down. So again, your fault, because you didn't do the due diligence. There are 50 million people that do everything. Like, there are people who have lock changing services, like people who are locksmiths, but you're not just gonna go anywhere and get a locksmith. Why? Because if you get somebody janky, they can possibly make a copy of the key and be able to run up in your house. So you're going to do your due diligence at making sure that you pick someone who doesn't just label themselves as a locksmith, but somebody that's accredited. You're going to look at their reviews. You're going to look for somebody who's went to them before. You're not just they do locks for the low. No, you're not going to do that. And if you do, it's going to be on you. You're not going to go out and be like, I never use another locksmith. I'm going to learn how to do my own locks. No. So why do we do that in the hair industry? And this next part is the part that made me want to make this video. And most of them got into cosmetology because they failed at every other job they've ever had in their life. Now, let me say this. I can guarantee you, the majority of people who go to hairstylists, the majority of people who judge hairstylists could not walk 1 mile in a hairstylist shoes, a successful hairstylist shoes. A person like myself, the master stylist Janae Mickles, Deeper Than Hair TV, most people couldn't walk a mile in their shoes. Because from the outside looking in, the hair industry looks like one of the easiest things that you can ever do. So me, I am a licensed cosmetologist, and I have been one since I was 19 years old. I didn't fail at anything. Cosmetology was the only thing that I've ever wanted to do. I wanted to maybe go into mental health, which is something that I've clearly already done, but I didn't fail at any other career because I've had my license since I was 19. I didn't fail at other careers. I just always knew that I wanted to work for myself, and I didn't want nobody telling me when to punch a clock, when to go here, when to do this. And I have loved hair my entire life. Okay? And every professional cosmetologist that I know, every actual good cosmetologist that I know have been eating, living, and breathing this their whole life. And their reason behind going to school wasn't because they failed at every other career that they've ever had. I've had at least 2 stylists tell me that. Well, again, that goes back to my first point. I want us all to take responsibility for the places that we end up. Because if you keep getting people like this that give you dirty looks and that are jealous and rude to you, and you've had 2 different stylists that told you the only reason they do it is because they was failing, that means that you're picking in the ratchet pool, baby. Does that mean that all cosmetologists are whack? No, that just means that you pick the ratchet ones. So I want all of us to really look at ourselves in the mirror. Like, what are you doing to attract these type of people? But like for myself, for an example, when it came to me doing hair, the reason that I stopped is because I didn't have control over the type of women that I was attracting. When you have a YouTube channel with over 100,000 subscribers, and this is when I was making silk press videos on a regular basis, so videos like within 100,000 views within the first couple of weeks, like, and then the same thing for Instagram. I didn't have control, and I did online booking, so it was hard for me to filter out who these people were. But for you're one person. You got to pick one hairstylist. So it's not as hard for you to filter out the type of hairstylist that you're going to go to, or the type of hairstylist that you're attracting, as it was for me to control the type of women that I was attracting to sit in my chair. But you have complete and total control. If you went to two different hairstylists and both of them told you the only reason they doing hair is because they failed at life, that means you shopping where the ratchets at, baby. That means that you picking hairstylists for the low. Hairstylists for the low. That's what that means. All right. They just kept getting fired from their jobs. It's definitely bad attitudes across the board. Now, I am not going to negate that. I'm not going to negate that the attitudes are bad across the board, but I will negate this in closing. Cosmetologists do not go to school because they're jealous of women and they want to get a license so they can make women bald because they hate other women so much. That's not it. Like, it's not a thing. Let's go over how much cosmetology school costs, like a roundabout estimate. Now, these are the prices for cosmetology school in 2022. I went to cosmetology school 15 years ago. So exactly, I paid $28,000 to go to cosmetology school. Not $2,800, $28,000. But because there's such a small amount, because there's such a small amount of people actually going to school, the prices have been dropped. So this is just an example. Every price is different depending on state, but if you was to just look at one of them, like one is $7,000, right? But then your kit on top of that is like $2,800, and then for some of them, like this one here, is $1,400 with a $1,500 kit. $14,000 with a $1,500 kit. Right? And so if you look all the way up at Paul Mitchell is $14,000 with a $2,800 kit. Okay, these women are not going to cosmetology school to learn how to do hair and have all of this student debt because they're jealous of you. No, you guys are picking by price, and because you're selecting by price, most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, the cheapest price that you find is by a woman who doesn't know her worth. And most of the time, the woman who doesn't know her worth is the woman who's doing it for fun and ain't never been to school. Okay, and then not everyone who's been to school actually really loves hair. That's why you have to know the difference. Just like not every OBGYN loves the female body. Not every doctor is really A1. That's why you have to do your due diligence. And as women, we have to stop blanketing each other into one group, because in one breath we're like, oh, I'm not like her, I'm different. But then the same finger that you don't want pointed at you're pointing at the person next to you. And it makes sense to why everybody's in the same place. I promise you, if you find a good cosmetologist, she or he went to school because they love women, not because we're jealous of women, not because we hate them. No, I went to cosmetology school because I have always been a science nerd. Chemistry was my favorite subject. Don't judge me, judge yourself, and the more I learned, the more I began to understand how most of the problems that black women, and the reason that I'm talking to black women is because I'm a black woman and I have a daughter who is growing into a black woman. So yes, that's where my passion is. That's where my focus is. Absolutely. And I'm not gonna act like it's anything different. That was my drive and passion. I didn't have the drive and passion to make it through 2 years of cosmetology school and everything that it took, and just now paying off my student loans 15 years later, just because I was jealous of women. This is what I did it for. Cyn, you are awesome. You are one of my top 3 ladies that give out accurate and knowledgeable information on YouTube. Now you are moving up to the number 1 spot. Oh, thank you. Since I've been following your excellent advice, the results are amazing. I now have decreased shedding. My scalp is cleaner and in better condition. My hair is getting more moisture. The things I've been struggling with is now 100 degrees turned around, all due to your methods. You are down to earth. I like your personality. That makes a big difference. I'm so grateful I found you. Listen, Peaches, I am so grateful for this message, because this is why cosmetologists go to cosmetology school and start taking clients. Not because we're jealous, not because we want everybody to be bald, so we're gonna call all of the black women with long hair to us so we can make them bald head because we jealous. No, we go to cosmetology school and then come out to either teach our clients in a way of like a service being provided to them, or like going to be teachers, because all cosmetologists don't stand behind the chair. They don't. I'm one that no longer does, unless I'm doing some type of event or a brand deal or something like that. But I want you to pay attention to what she said, because this is our mission, not to cut y'all hair off because we're jealous. I now have decreased shedding. When we go to school, we learn how to make sure that the shedding is decreased. My scalp is cleaner. When we go to school, we learn how different scalp infections like seborrheic dermatitis, like dandruff, like scalp psoriasis are all caused from a dirty scalp. Because dandruff, most people think that dandruff is dry scalp. No, dandruff is an overproduction of oil that is causing bacteria in the scalp. So cosmetologists, we go to school to learn, like, hey, y'all stop putting that oil on your scalp, because the dandruff that you have is because you have too much oil. You have too much dirt trapped in the follicle. That's where the dandruff is coming from. Stop putting oil. Okay, that's why we went to school, not because we're jealous of you. My scalp is cleaner and in better condition. My hair is getting more moisture. The things that I have been struggling with are 100 degrees turned around. This is all from her watching YouTube videos. So just imagine how the clients who came and sat in my chair actually were. Cosmetologists do not go to cosmetology school because they are jealous of other black women and want to make them bald. That's not what happens. That's not why we go to school, babe. It's not. So again, this is why we do it. Before I did the 7-day challenge and got the scientific brushing book, I thought I was taking care of my hair right. My hair looked healthy. I want to make sure I was taking care of my scalp and ends properly. Man, after applying what I've learned, my hair is on another level of flourishing. All right. So this woman is someone who joined my 7-day hair growth challenge, all right? And she purchased my new ebook on scientific brushing. Links for all of those in the description box below. This is why we do what we do. This is why we go to cosmetology school, because of the things that I've learned in cosmetology school and the things that I have went ahead and kept educating myself on as a cosmetologist. Because with my cosmetology license, I can get into certain classes that I couldn't take before I had the cosmetology license. Just like you can, the average person, everybody can go shop at Sally's, but it's not until you have a cosmetology license that you can shop at Cosmoprof. So A cosmetology license definitely gets you through doors that the everyday woman cannot get through, regardless of how good she is at doing hair. All right. So when I am in the hair industry, I am in the hair industry now for this reason, so that yes, women can still go to cosmetologists, still go to a hairstylist, a braider, whoever you're gonna go to, absolutely, but you still have the tools to master your own hair yourself. You're not left to, somebody being able to book an appointment for you. No, just like you can brush your teeth every day and take care of the regular maintenance of your teeth without your dentist, you should be able to take care of the regular maintenance of your hair without your hairstylist. And cosmetologists, real cosmetologists, go to school to learn how to do the service for their clients and to teach their clients how to transform their lives themselves. Because contrary to popular opinion, a cosmetologist does not want you to stay with hair that's jacked up and messed up, because it makes my job more difficult. If every time I see you, I have to cut more hair and I have to fix damaged ends, it is debilitating for me. It makes me feel like I went to school for nothing, because you're not learning anything from me. I have never wanted to cut any of my clients' hair off. That is a myth. I love y'all so much. Thank you for chilling with me. I'm not gonna call this a rant. I know somebody gonna be like, oh, Cyn, you so passionate, oh, you so mad. No, this is just how I talk. Like, it's crazy because to myself I'm talking regular, but then people be like, oh, you so passionate, you so blah, blah. But I'm like, oh, this is how I talk. It's just a regular day. Like, I'm sorry, but I love you guys, but I just want y'all to see yourselves. This is not a channel that's going to make y'all feel good about saying and doing stupid stuff. It's not, because that gets you nowhere in life. We'll be going around the same mountain over and over again. We're not doing that. Here on my channel, we get solutions. If we have myths, we get myths busted over here. And the truth of the matter is, if you are dealing with ratchet hairstylists who are rude and disrespectful, that's grooming you when you walk through the door, that's popping sunflower seeds in your hair as they doing hair, that's holding their kids, and you gotta wait 2-3 hours, you are shopping the wrong way in the wrong places for hairstylists. And if you want me to teach you guys how to find a good hairstylist, then just say that and I will help you find them. All right, because they are out here. They are out here in these streets. Y'all just not looking in the right places, because they may not have a whole bunch of followers, or they may not have a whole bunch of subscribers. That doesn't mean anything. Your subscriber count has nothing to do with the amount of talent that you have in your hands, because there are a lot of women who didn't pick up the camera. They just doing hair and killing shit, but they haven't picked up the camera. So it's your job to find the chick who either hasn't picked up the camera, or the chick who cares more about the science of hair than she does the camera or the views that she gets from it. Let's get to work.
Trust that exactly where you are is where you're meant to be. So keep your chin up so your crown doesn't fall. Remember, you're royalty.